Okay, so let's have a look at the Junior Certificate Higher Level Maths Paper 1 for 2019, questions 7, 8 and 9. So in question 7a it asks us to describe each of the following sets and be as specific as possible. So the set of natural numbers. So the set of natural numbers is the set of positive whole numbers. So, and the set of natural numbers is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on up to infinity. So it's the set of positive whole numbers. The set of integers then, the set of integers is the set of positive and negative whole numbers and 0. So the set of integers then is going to be the set, we started -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, we'll stop at 3, but it goes on to infinity in both directions, so minus infinity up to plus infinity. So it's the set of positive and negative whole numbers, and it includes 0 as well. Okay, part B, graph the following inequality on the number line given. So we have -3 up to 2, and x is greater than -3 and less than or equal to 2, and x is real as well. X is a real number. So we've got to look at -3 first. So we're going to put a circle around -3. We're not going to include the -3 because it's greater than -3. It's less than 2 or equal to 2, so we're going to put a circle around the 2 and we're going to fill it in as well because it does include the 2. And after that then it's just a case of filling in the line in between. Because it's real, we're going to include everything in between then. So we're going to include all of this in between the -3 and the 2. Oops, so you get the idea anyway, you just fill everything in between then. Okay, and that's it. You can do a much better job than that, I'm sure. Okay, so let's do the next part. So we have to use algebra to solve the following inequality. So we're going to take -7 less than 8 minus 3g less than or equal to 11. So I'm going to do this two ways. First way, I'm just going to leave it as it is, and in the second way I'm going to break it up. So let's do it by just subtracting 8 from each side first. So subtract 8 from the middle, you'll get -3g. Subtract 8 from -7, you'll get -15. Subtract 8 on this side here, you'll get 3. 11 minus 8 is 3. So next thing we've got to do is divide by -3. That -3 is multiplied by the g. So we're going to get g in the middle. We're going to get minus divided by minus, which is plus 15 divided by 3 on this side. And here, if you divide 3 by -3, you'll just get -1. Now, because we divided by a minus, a negative number, we've got to flip these symbols around here. And that's my answer then. That's your solution. Now, the other way you can do this is just split this up. You can take the left-hand side and you can take the right-hand side, and you can just do them. So you've got -7 less than 8 minus 3g, and then the right hand side you've got 8 minus 3g less than or equal to 11. You can do them this way as well. So again, it's the same kind of thing. Subtract 8 from both sides, you get -15 less than -3g. Divide by the -3, so that'll just give you 15 divided by 3. You've got to flip this around because you divided by -3. You've got g here. Here, subtract 8 from both sides, -3g less than or equal to 3, and then divide by the -3. Divide by -3 here, and you've got to flip around the symbol as well. so you get minus 1. So if you put these two together, you can actually see that this here is just the left hand side of the solution, and this here is just the right hand side of the solution. So you can put these together here. You've got G here is going to be less than 15 over 3 and greater than or equal to minus 1. So that's our solution to this here. Okay, let's have a look at question 8 then. So we have a Venn diagram, and it shows the number of people in the youth club who play music and sports. N is a natural number, so N starts at 1, so it goes from 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. Work out the maximum number of people who could be in the youth club. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is just add up all these terms in the Venn diagram. So we've got 125, we've got 52, we've got 184 minus n, and then we've got a plus 2n. And when you add all those up, you get, let me just have a look here, 361 plus n, 361 plus n. So that's the total number of people in the youth club. Now, what can n be then? What's the minimum and maximum that n could be in this particular case? Well, we have in the middle here we have 184 minus n. Now n is a natural number, so the minimum that n can be is 1. So if you take n as 1 here, so n is equal to 1, what do you get? You get 362. So 361 plus 1 will give you 362. This is the total number of people who could be in the youth club if n was 1. Now what's the maximum that n could be? Well, n could be 184, because if n is 184, in the middle here we'll have 184 minus 184, which will give us 0. We could end up with 0 number of people who play music and play sports, who play both. So n could be 184. It couldn't be 185. It couldn't be greater than 184, because then we'll end up with a negative number in the middle here, and you can't have a negative number of people doing something. So the maximum that n could be is 184. So if n is equal to 184, what do we get? Well, we get 361 plus 184. That'll give me, let me see, 4 and 1, 5, 8 and 6, 14, 3 and 1, 4, 1, 5, 545. So that's really the maximum. This number here is bigger than this number here. Now, and anything in between, if n is anything in between 1 and 184, you will find that you'll get some numbers in between these two as well. So the maximum number, anyway, that the answer, if you like, is 545. Okay, so let's have a look at number 9 here. Gertie writes down the following sequence which repeats every 3 terms. So 364, 364, 364 and so on. Write down the value of the 12th term. So you can write them down if you want. 364, 364, 364, and we'll do one more, 364, and so on. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is the 12th term here, which happens to be a 4, so that's our answer there. Okay, work out the value of the 100th term in the sequence. So how are we going to do this? Well, what you're going to do is take 100. You're going to divide it by 3 because it's a 3-term repeating pattern. So 100 divided by 3 will give us 33. Now that'll bring us up to 99, which means we have a remainder of 1. So it's 33 with a remainder of 1. So we know that every multiple of 3 will be a 4. So you can see here 3, 6, 9, 12 and so on. Every multiple of 3 will be a 4. So the 99th term, which is a multiple of 3, will be a 4, and then you go back to 3 again. So my answer here will be 3. Because there's a remainder 1, you go back to the start again, you go back to the 3 again. Okay, so that's that one done. Describe how to find the value of the nth term in a sequence where n is an element of n, so n is a natural number, without listing the terms from 1 up to the nth term. Okay, so what did we do? I'm just going to describe what we did in the previous in part A there. So what you're going to do is you're going to take n and you're going to divide it by 3. So divide n by 3. So after that then you need to look at the remainders. So if there is no remainder, then the nth term is going to be, if you look at it here, the nth term is going to be 4 here. 3, 6, 9, 12. Every multiple of 3 is going to be a 4 here. It's going to be a 4, so it's going to be 4. Then the nth term is 4, or the third term. So if there is a remainder, if there's a remainder of 1, then the nth term, we need to go back to the start again. So again, if we come back here, so if there's a remainder of 1, we go back to this number here again. So this is remainder 1, so it's going to be 3. Then we're looking at the nth term is 3. If there is a remainder of 2, then the nth term is, it's going to be the middle number here. So again, this is no remainder, remainder 1, remainder 2, and then we're back here again. So remainder 2 means it's going to be a 6. Then the nth term is 6. And that's how you do it really. You divide whatever n is by 3. If there's no remainder, then the nth term is 4. If there's a remainder of 1, then the nth term is 3. If there's a remainder of 2, then the nth term is 6. Okay, so let's have a look at this part then. So Gertie made her sequence 3, 6, 4, 3, 6, 4, 3, 6, 4 by picking 3 as the first term and then using this rule. If the term is odd, multiply by 2 to get the next term. If it is even, add 2 and half your answer to get the next term. So for example here, if you take 3 here, 3 is an odd number. So what do? You double it to give you 6. 6 is an even number. So what do you do with that? You add 2. 6 plus 2 is 8. Half it, you get 4. 4 is an even number. What do? We add 2 to give us 6, half it to give us 3, and so on. Now a different sequence follows the same rule but has 8 as its first term. Work out the next 4 terms of this sequence. Okay, so if we take 8 here, 8 is an even number, so what does it say? It says add 2, that'll give us 10, and then you divide 10 by 2 to give us 5. So the next term in this sequence is going to be 5. 5 is an odd number, so what do you do with an odd number? You take 5 and you just simply multiply by 2, so that'll give us 10. So this number here is going to be 10. 10 is an even number, so with even numbers you add 2 to give us 12 and divide by 2 to give us 6. 6 is an even number, add 2 to give us 8, divide by 2 to give us 4. Okay, so that's that one done. Ahmed takes 2 as his first term and makes the sequence using the same rule. State what is unusual about Ahmed's sequence. So if you take Ahmed's number here 2, it's an even number, so you're going to add 2 and half it to give you 2. 2 is an even number, add 2 to give you 4, half it, give you 2. So you're always going to end up with 2. So what's unusual about that? Well, it's fairly obvious. We will always get 2 for each term. in the sequence, since adding 2 to 2 and doubling 2 gives 4. So if you add 2 to 2 you get 4, and if you double 2 you'll always get 4 as well. Okay, in another sequence using the same rule, the second term is 86. Work out two different values that the first term could have been in this particular sequence. Okay, so well, if you look back at the rules here, it says if the term is odd, multiply by 2. If the term is odd, we multiply by 2. So let's half 86. We get 43. So 43 is an odd number. 43 is an odd number, and what we do with odd numbers, double it. So it could be 43. You just double the 43 to get 86. Now, another number that could be in here is 170, because 170 is even. So what do? We add 2 to give us 172, and then you divide 172 by 2. That will give us 8, carry 1, 86. Yeah, so that will give us 86 as well. So it could be 170 either. 170. Okay, a different sequence follows the same rule, but this time it starts with k, which is odd. Now they're telling you k is odd. Work out the next three terms of this sequence. Give each term in its simplest form in terms of k. Okay, so we're going to start with k, and we know that k is odd. So k is an odd number. What does it say about odd numbers? Let me just have another look. Odd numbers you just simply multiply by 2. Okay, so odd numbers you multiply by 2. So here we're going to end up with 2k. Okay, so we've ended up with, so we've gone from k to 2k. Now 2k is an even number. It's an even number because 2k is divisible by 2. You take 2k and divide by 2, you'll get k. So so this is an even number here, okay? 2k is an even number. So what do we do with even numbers? We take 2k, we add 2, and then we divide by 2. So you can divide the 2 in here to give us k, divide the 2 in here to give us 1. So we end up with k plus 1. So I've just divided the 2 into 2k to give me k, and the 2 into the 2 to give me 1. So here we end up with k plus 1. K plus 1. Now, is k plus 1 odd or even is what you've got to decide. Well, you've got to see here that k, by the way, I'll just write this in here, we got k plus 1. Now, you've got to recognize here that k initially was odd. So if you have an odd number, so remember k here is an odd number. But what about k plus 1 then? Well, if you have an odd number and you add 1, that means k plus 1 is even. If you take any odd number, for example 5, add 1, you'll get 6. Take 11, add 1, you'll get 12, and so on. So if you take any odd number, add 1, you'll get an even number. So this number here is even. So what does that mean? What do we do with even numbers? You take the even number, you add 2, and you divide by 2. So that'll give us k plus 1 plus 2, which is k plus 3 over 2. We can't make this any simpler, so let's just write that in. So it's k plus 3 over 2. Okay, and that's it for these 3 questions.